Hi, my name is Leanna, and I'm a junior at Bel Air High School in Houston, Texas. Before I begin, I'd like to thank Dr. Cynthia Muller-Crummy of the Houston Princeton Alumni Association, Ms. Catherine Price, who mentors my Mayor Youth Council, and my family for supporting me in everything I do. Lastly, I'd like to thank Ms. Debbie Scott-Williams, I don't know where you are right now, our amazing chaperones, and of course my fellow prize winners for teaching me so much in the expanse of a mere few days. In the wake of high-profile, racially charged incidents, it is easy to point and declare, oh look, he's a racist. And it is easy to make a solidarity Facebook post or a tweet with a hashtag and think, oh, I'm no longer a racist. Youth are discouraged from having a real conversation about discrimination, on the microaggressions and skewed perceptions that allow society to legitimize larger violence. You know, when people call Asians GPA whores at our school or ask me where I'm really from or whether I have tiger parents who, did they burn your toys too when you were little? These are seen as positive generalizations because they aren't violent. But when we flip that towards other races, those are the same kinds of statements and just the same kind of ignorance that fuels larger violence later. Surprisingly, it was when I was awarded a cultural exchange to France, which is seen as a stereotypically racist and judgmental society, that I was able to look at both my Asian identity and American identity and see that there was no clash between them, that I was truly Asian American. The truth is, our discussion of race as a black-white binary leaves other minorities out of the picture and more likely to side with ignorance. As a low-income first-generation Asian female who understood the stories of both the blacks and Latinos in the same socioeconomic situation and that of Asians who shared my racial background, I realized there was an astonishing gap that needed to be bridged between these communities. Conversations on race must be open and multifaceted, not just two-sided. In December, I asked the Mayor's Youth Council to provide not just service to our community, but leadership. After about 1.5 months of planning, in which I found sponsors, guest speakers, and invited students, we held our first citywide Houston Youth Forum on race and culture at Rice University. Student leaders representing countless communities took what they had learned back to their schools and organizations. And there were lots of memories. I remember when Yu Yosa, one of my friends, told me he had been rejected by an impressive number of 23 girls, and counting, he says, because he was black. And I remember when Camille, who is Vietnamese, talked about how her Asian stereotypes intimidated her from pursuing STEM interests because she didn't want to be put in a box. And when Destiny, who should have been happy about her multitude of acceptances to selective universities, was sad because she thought it was because of affirmative action. And when Shelby talked about the underrepresentation of teachers of color at her school. When we shared deeply personal things like fear going through TSA, and when we experienced critical race theory or talked about government policy and education and intersectionality, we drew from it a collective consciousness. Originally, I was afraid that no one would attend, or that, even worse, they would show up and be silent. Yet the truth is that youth are fiercely motivated to identify problems in today's society that are concerned with race and to solve them. Following the HYFRC, I've continued my work building One Jump, a startup seeking to connect students from underprivileged backgrounds to educational opportunities. And as chair of the Texas High School Democrats, I've registered hundreds of underserved minority students to vote. Yet more importantly, in my day-to-day interactions, I challenge others to be racially conscious. With the privilege and challenge of being the most diverse city in the US, Houston is a prototype for the future. I hope that the HYFRC continues for many years to educate and stimulate students on an issue so little touched in the classroom so that we can welcome this, our mosaic future. Thank you.